Welcome back to the channel, my friends. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man, and today we're taking a look at the Siege Breaker Consul. This video is sponsored by CMO Games. More on that later. Bring the house down with the Siege Breaker Consul. Space Marine legions are versed in many forms of warfare, scouting ahead of battle lines and sniping crucial targets, racing to exploit the unguarded flanks of the foe on gravity-defying jet bites, using roaring jump packs to smash head fists into melee, and now bringing down buildings and hard targets with surgical precision. Siege Breaker Consuls are experts at rapid deconstruction initiatives based on the precise application of extreme explosive force. In other words, they blow stuff up. These consuls use their encyclopedic knowledge of demolition to help their allies bring down defensive structures and efficiently destroy armored vehicles. Very cool, quite the description, and this model is awesome. He's got like the little floating board right here, massive hammer. I love the intricacy of the armor. I know a lot of people prefer with the Horus Heresy stuff for it to be like a little more plain, and I totally get it when it comes to like the iconography and everything, especially since a lot of it gets used for like traitor and loyalists as well. But like this armor and like the little bits of detail like here and there are just amazing. This is absolutely awesome. I have noticed also that they've been employing the tactical rocks a little bit more in Horus Heresy as well. Now, I'm a fan of the tactical rocks, but I do like it when it's an option. So if you do like your own custom basing, you can always like leave it off. But most of the time you can incorporate it regardless. But just a little piece like this built into the model or like with the model, and then just some regular sand essentially takes this base to the point where it looks like it's nice. As opposed to if the rock wasn't there, it would just look a little bit too plain. And realistically, like a skull and a tuft, then this base would be looking prime. But yeah, this model is absolutely sweet. I love the detail on it. I love the overall look. Very, very cool. Clad in thick plates of customized artificer armor, as if to mock the very reinforced structures and vehicles he instructs his brothers to destroy, the Siege Breaker is equipped with a mighty thunderhammer and the obligatory set of phosphex bombs. Okay, so I guess these are the phosphex bombs on his side. I'm not as familiar with 30k, so I'm assuming they're like the equivalents of like a melta bomb or something like that. His terminal is presumably loaded with reams of data on structural weakness, and the best places to focus anti-tank fire to slice through armored hulls. It even has a holographic display, because the deafening bombardments he directs sadly prevent lengthy structures on the best methods of laying siege. Okay, sick, and then here we have the back. Again, very, very cool detail. We can see a little bit more of the actual hammer. We see like the pads themselves, and then of course like the cool backpack. And then it did look like his display was basically just floating, but it actually has like a little servo arm holding it up and then a couple wires. Yeah, this is awesome. And then alternative head sculpt as well. Very cool. Definitely a fan of when they provide multiple heads, especially when one is helmeted, one is not. And then here we can see the holographic display like a little bit closer. Obviously this paint job is absolutely sick, but at least some of the detail like the little like 3D holographic display part is like built into the model. Very, very cool. Definitely a nice looking model. This is an expert miniature made from Forgeworld Resin. Coming with 2 choices of head. We'll have more news on when he's releasing in the near future. Yeah, so definitely a fan. Very, very cool. Nicely done. And honestly, in something like Space Marines where there's just like a million different ones that have come out over time, it's nice to see when they come out with something different that's like clearly distinguished. And now obviously you could do your own conversion and do something similar to this, but I just like when they come out with something unique that's not already just another generic Space Marine. So very, very cool. Now a quick message from today's sponsor. CMO Games has been selling Games Workshop products online for over 20 years. They carry the full line of Games Workshop products, including Warhammer 40,000, Age of Sigmar, Necromunda, Blood Bowl, paint tools, and more. Almost all Games Workshop products are priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games takes pre-orders for most Games Workshop products released at their earliest date possible. 12:01 a.m. on Saturday, they go live. Most of these pre-order products are also priced at 15% off MSRP. CMO Games offer free shipping in the US 48 with an order of $50 or more. Their customer service is top-notch and they ship most orders within 24 hours. Visit CMOGames.com using the affiliate link in the description and let them know that you heard about CMO Games from Warhammer Man. Now, back to the video. Alright, and then transitioning over here to a completely unrelated article in the fantasy Blood Bowl realm. There's one here on making an exhibition. It's a Blood Bowl grandstand on Warhammer Plus, and I'm not going to go through the full article here. I actually haven't read it myself. But I just scrolled through here real quick just to see what it was all about, and I saw these Blood Bowl bases, and they're not like insane or anything. They're definitely like replicable. I think your average person can make these themselves, but they just are awesome. And I haven't seen a ton of like super cool like custom Blood Bowl bases, so I figured it was worth a note. And each one of these has like some pretty cool features incorporated in them that could be like easily replicable once you've seen it and you're like going for that look. So obviously this one has the football on the base, which is definitely pretty cool. I'm not sure if that's ideal because you're going to be playing the game obviously, but we have basically like your regular like texture here, and then we have a couple of like various tufts, And then it looks like they've maybe like incorporated a little bit of like their actual like crackle, like texture kind of paste and stuff like that. This one is neat and everything, but probably my least favorite. Next we have this green one here, and this one has like the actual lines of the football field, which is pretty cool. It has a couple like dents and dings in like your basic texture. And then of course like a footprint, which is awesome. I'm definitely a big fan of that. That's also like easily replicable. You know, you can just take one of your guys without a base or like with an exposed foot and just push it down into the basing like before it's dry. And then again, we see some tufts and then also the incorporation of a little bit of blood as well. And I would say this base right here is like top notch. That's like almost display level. And then the last one here, again, we see like your basic texture. We see like a little variance in the texture as some of it is like the crackle, like kind of cracking paint. And then there's like some kind of like stick or something like that. Maybe like a tiny little footprint or some kind of like ding in the actual ground. Obviously the paint itself. And then of course we have some like various tufts. And I think in general, like you don't see a ton of bases like done up for Blood Bowl or just really all around, specifically from Games Workshop. They tend to be like just a little more basic. Obviously they'll show them off when it's built into the model and stuff like that. And they definitely take them to the next level. But like for instance, this like season of Kill Team, they basically just throw like a couple tiny little pieces of rubble on some bases. And they're actually like pretty boring. So it's cool to see Games Workshop kind of going all out and demonstrating some pretty awesome bases. So I think all three of these could be like easily replicated. All three are unique, got a different little like color scheme to them, and there's definitely just some thought-provoking elements on all of them. Whether it's your regular texture, your tufts, your paint, the footprint, or like the blood, definitely a big fan of all these various elements. And I think this is great for giving people ideas as to what they could do for their custom bases. So yeah, just wanted to talk about that real quick. Definitely saw this picture and was intrigued by it. And I think anytime Games Workshop shows off like some cool stuff that might spur some ideas, it's for sure worth sharing, regardless of what game it's for. And like realistically, with the exception of like the paint lines for the field, you could easily incorporate these in regular bases as well, or maybe the football. You know, you could have like road lines, footprints on like any base in 40K or Sigmar, and then obviously like tufts, sticks, blood, all that cool stuff. So very cool on Games Workshop's part. Always like to see when they share some custom bases, give some ideas out there. So let me know what you think if you're ready to incorporate some of these basing elements into your own custom bases, or if you've got some cool ideas of your own, share them down below. Also, let me know what you think of that new Siege Breaker Consul. I think he's a really cool new model. Now, obviously, he's Forgeworld, so I'm going to be passing on that Resin sculpt, but I do like the idea of it, and maybe that's going to spur somebody to do their own conversion as well. So that's it for today. Special thanks to CMO Games for sponsoring the video. Check out the link in the description to save 15% on Games Workshop products. Warhammer Man Studios. I'm Warhammer Man. Definitely a cool new reveal and some awesome basing ideas, and I'm out of here.